His PSA had been rising for 2 years, 6.1, 6.8, 7.4. His urologist reviewed his diet, his exercise, his medications. Nothing explained the consistent climb. Then, at his fourth appointment, a new nurse practitioner joined the visit. She reviewed his intake form differently than anyone had before. She asked, "What does your typical evening look like? From dinner until you go to sleep?" He described it. Large dinner around 7. Television until 10 or 11. A beer or two while watching. Phone in bed until he fell asleep. Usually slept 5 to 6 hours on weekdays. She circled 4 things on her notepad, then said, "I want to show you something." She pulled up a diagram of cortisol and inflammatory marker patterns across a 24-hour cycle, pointed to the evening hours. She said, "These 4 habits, every single night, are creating a low-grade inflammatory environment in your body during the hours when your prostate tissue is most vulnerable to oxidative stress. And you have been doing all 4 of them consistently for years." He asked, "Which 4?" She listed them. He said, "I had no idea any of those affected my prostate." She said, "Most men don't, because nobody connects nightly habits to PSA in a standard appointment. But the research connecting evening behavior patterns to prostate inflammation is some of the most consistent data in lifestyle medicine. It just rarely makes it into a 12-minute urology visit." He changed all 4 habits over 6 weeks. His next PSA, 6.8, down from 7.4. His urologist said, "Whatever you changed in your evening routine, keep doing it." Today, I am revealing all 4 nightly habits that research links to prostate inflammation, what each one does, and exactly what to do instead, starting tonight. Before we continue, quick reminder, this is educational information only, not medical advice. Always work with your doctor before making changes to your health routine or PSA management plan. Drop the word "tonight" in the comments for a free evening routine guide, exactly what to change and what to replace it with for prostate health. Now, all 4 habits, starting with the one that surprised him most. Habit 1, eating a large meal late at night. He ate dinner at 7 p.m. every evening, large portions, often his biggest meal of the day. His nurse practitioner said, "Late large meals are one of the most consistent drivers of overnight inflammation in men over 60, and the prostate is directly affected." Here is the mechanism. A large late meal triggers a significant insulin spike in the evening hours. After 60, insulin sensitivity is naturally lower, meaning the same meal produces a higher and more prolonged insulin response than it would have at 40. That elevated insulin drives IGF-1 production overnight. IGF-1 directly stimulates prostate cell proliferation and drives prostate tissue inflammation during the hours when your body should be in repair mode. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed men over 60 for 18 months, tracking meal timing and inflammatory markers. Men who consumed more than 40% of their daily calories after 6 p.m. showed significantly higher overnight C-reactive protein and IGF-1 levels compared to men who front-loaded calories earlier in the day. What does this mean for you? Your prostate does not repair itself efficiently in a high-insulin, high-inflammation overnight environment. Moving your largest meal to midday and keeping dinner light before 6:30 p.m. MAE directly reduces the inflammatory load your prostate is exposed to during its most important repair window. What to do instead? Make lunch your largest meal. Keep dinner light, lean protein, vegetables, small portions. Finish eating by 6:30 p.m. when possible. This single timing shift changes your overnight hormonal environment significantly. Habit 2, alcohol in the evening. 2 beers while watching television. Every night, for years. His nurse practitioner circled this immediately. She said, "Evening alcohol is one of the most direct drivers of prostate inflammation that men over 60 consistently underestimate. Not because alcohol itself is catastrophic in moderation, but because of what it does specifically during evening hours and specifically to the prostate. Here is what happens. Alcohol is metabolized into acetaldehyde, a compound that directly triggers inflammatory pathways in prostate tissue. In the evening, when cortisol is naturally declining and your body is transitioning into repair mode, alcohol disrupts this transition. It elevates inflammatory cytokines, specifically TNF-alpha and interleukin-6 during precisely the hours when your prostate tissue is supposed to be recovering from daily oxidative stress. A meta-analysis published in the International Journal of Cancer reviewed 27 studies on alcohol consumption and prostate health markers in men over 55. Regular evening alcohol consumption, defined as 2 or more drinks 4 or more nights per week, was independently associated with elevated PSA from prostate inflammation and higher rates of PSA progression over time. What does this mean for you? 2 drinks every night is not social drinking. It is a nightly prostate inflammation event, timed to coincide with your body's most important repair window. The research does not say never drink. It says consistent nightly drinking at this level has a measurable impact on prostate inflammatory markers. What to do instead? Limit alcohol to 2 to 3 nights per week, maximum. On evenings you do drink, 1 drink, not 2. Replace the second drink with sparkling water with lemon or unsweetened green tea. Your prostate repair window that night will look significantly different. Habit 3, screen use in bed and chronic sleep deprivation. Phone in bed until he fell asleep. 5 to 6 hours of sleep on weekdays. His nurse practitioner said, this combination, blue light exposure followed by short sleep, is creating a cortisol and melatonin disruption that directly affects your prostate every single night. Here is the mechanism. Blue light from phones and screens suppresses melatonin production for 2 to 3 hours after exposure. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is one of the most potent antioxidants that directly protects prostate tissue from oxidative damage overnight. Research has identified melatonin receptors in prostate cells, meaning the prostate is directly responsive to melatonin signaling. When blue light suppresses melatonin, your prostate loses its primary nightly antioxidant protection during the hours it needs it most. Short sleep compounds this. A study published in Sleep Medicine Reviews found that men averaging fewer than 6 hours of sleep per night showed 40% higher systemic inflammatory marker levels than men averaging 7 to 8 hours. Those inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein, directly drive PSA elevation from non-cancerous prostate inflammation. A separate analysis in Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention found that chronic short sleep was independently associated with higher PSA levels and accelerated PSA progression in men over 55, even after controlling for diet, exercise, and other lifestyle factors. What does this mean for you? Your phone in bed is suppressing the one hormone that protects your prostate tissue overnight, and your 5 hours of sleep is maintaining a sustained inflammatory state that keeps your PSA elevated regardless of what you eat or how much you exercise during the day. No dietary change compensates for chronic sleep deprivation at the hormonal level. What to do instead? Phone off and out of the bedroom 60 minutes before sleep. Dim all screens by 8 p.m. Target 7 to 8 hours consistently, not just on weekends. This is the highest leverage single change most men over 60 can make for prostate inflammation reduction. Habit 4, sitting continuously through the evening. Television from dinner until bedtime. No movement. 3 to 4 hours of continuous sitting. His nurse practitioner said, prolonged evening sitting is the habit most men dismiss because it feels passive. But what it does to pelvic blood flow and prostate tissue oxygenation overnight is anything but passive. Here is what happens. The prostate gland sits within the pelvic floor, directly compressed during prolonged sitting. Extended pressure reduces blood flow to prostate tissue. Reduced blood flow means reduced oxygen delivery and reduced clearance of inflammatory metabolic byproducts. Over hours of continuous sitting every evening and years of this pattern, prostate tissue accumulates oxidative damage that drives both PSA elevation and cellular stress. A 2022 study in the European Journal of Cancer Prevention followed men over 60 for 2 years, tracking sedentary behavior patterns specifically during evening hours. Men who sat continuously for more than 3 hours each evening showed significantly higher PSA levels and higher rates of PSA progression compared to men who interrupted evening sitting with movement every 45 to 60 minutes, even when total daily exercise was equivalent between groups. The finding was specific to evening sitting, not total daily sedentary time. Evening hours matter disproportionately because pelvic congestion during the pre-sleep period directly affects the overnight tissue environment. What does this mean for you? Your evening television habit is not just sedentary. It is creating hours of sustained pelvic compression that reduces blood flow to prostate tissue precisely when it needs optimal circulation for overnight repair. The fix does not require exercise, it requires interruption. What to do instead? Set a timer for every 45 minutes during evening television. Stand up, walk to the kitchen and back, do 10 slow squats. 2 minutes of movement every 45 minutes breaks the pelvic compression cycle completely, without disrupting your evening. He restructured his entire evening over 2 weeks. Here is exactly what changed. Dinner moved to 6 p.m., light meal, grilled fish, steamed vegetables, small portion. Largest meal shifted to lunch. Alcohol reduced to 2 nights per week. 1 drink maximum. Sparkling water with lemon replacing the second beer every other night. Phone plugged in outside the bedroom at 9 p.m. All screens dimmed by 8. Consistent 7-hour sleep target every night, including weekdays. Timer set on the television remote. Every 45 minutes, 2 minutes of movement before sitting again. 4 changes, 2 weeks to implement fully. His PSA, 6 weeks later, 6.8, down from 7.4. His urologist said at the follow-up, "I do not know exactly which change drove this, but your inflammatory markers are down and your PSA is moving in the right direction. Whatever you changed in your evenings, this is the result." He said, "I had no idea my evenings were affecting my prostate." His nurse practitioner said, "Most men don't, until someone asks what they do between dinner and sleep." Tonight, after this video ends, your evening routine begins. You now know what 4 habits are doing to your prostate between dinner and sleep. You know what to change. You know what to replace each habit with. You know the research behind every recommendation. That is a different evening than the one you had yesterday, not an overhaul. 4 specific adjustments: dinner earlier, alcohol reduced, phone out of the bedroom, movement every 45 minutes. His nurse practitioner said, "The prostate does not care what you do at the gym at 7 a.m. if you undo it every night between 7 p.m. and midnight. Your evening routine is either protecting your prostate or inflaming it." Now you know which 4 habits make the difference. Share this with one man over 60 who has been told his PSA is elevated and has never once been asked what he does every night between dinner and sleep. And drop tonight in the comments for the free evening routine guide. Exactly what to change starting tonight.